Hey there, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new around here, well, my name is Mac and I'm a leadership coach, but I actually work specifically with first-time introverted managers in helping them to become confident and effective leaders. So today what I wanted to do was talk a little bit about communicating for trust and not likability. And the reason why I want to do this is because, to be honest, a lot of people conflate the two, and I think it's necessary to know the difference and focus on the right one so that you can become effective, right? Because honestly, when you communicate in the wrong way, you cause yourself a lot of heartache and headache, and I just do not want that for you. And so that's why I wanted to talk about this on the channel today. So last week, actually, I had a conversation with a new manager, and she was so great. I mean, she was so candid and honest with me in this conversation, and I just wanted to share it with you because I thought that maybe you would understand where she's coming from. So she said to me, Mac, I am a year into this and I don't feel any closer to the team dynamic that I envisioned having when I first stepped into the role. She said, I'm a year in, and if anything, I'm actually feeling more underconfident than I did when I first started because things aren't going the way that I planned. And so I'm at a point now where I feel like, what's the point? And so again, sharing this with you because maybe you understand where she's coming from. Maybe you yourself are 90 days in or 180 days in or a full year in. I don't know. Maybe you've been in it for a while and you're feeling like she does. Maybe you're feeling like you're salmon swimming upstream, trying to figure everything out and still not any further ahead in the way that you want to be. If you're at that point yourself and you're feeling this way, I want to remind you of something that is really important that I think a lot of people tend to forget when they're not making headway with their team. Okay. And the important thing that you have to understand is that team dynamics and performance at the core of it is simply just relationship dynamics. And we all know that in any relationship that we have, whether it be professional or personal, that at the core of that is trust. And so arguably speaking, if you are able to build a strong foundation of trust, then you will also have a strong team dynamic that performs really well, right? It's just inevitable. It's part of that domino effect. Now, I know that there are a lot of people out there that will tell you until they are blue in the face that what you need to do is get really proficient at individual skill builders, right? And that you need to learn how to set goals, that you need to learn how to assign tasks to people, that you need to learn how to hold people accountable, and you need to learn how to prioritize and manage your time effectively. And while all those things are true, what I'm asking you to do is shift your priorities a little bit and start to focus on building relationships with the individuals that make up your team first, because I'm telling you from experience that is what makes the difference. Now, I want you to imagine being able to have the opportunity to create a truly impactful team and celebrating, right? The fact that you and your team are the ones that are able to achieve consistent, outstanding results for the organization. And the fact that you've been able to create an environment that you're truly proud of, right? Because you've got a team that's rocking. And for yourself, I want you to imagine in the next year being able to advance your career and being able to confidently say yes to the next opportunity that presents itself. When you think of all those things, like when you really think about it, what allows those things to happen isn't because you all of a sudden know how to manage your time properly or you know how to hold a team accountable. What allows those even skills to work is the relationships. It is the dynamics of the team that allows you to be able to hold somebody accountable. It is the dynamics of the team that allows you to create a truly positive and driven culture, right? It's not these individual skill sets. It's the relationships that you've been able to foster and develop with the individuals that make up that team. So I can't remember for the life of me if I've already shared this story with y'all. And so if I already have, my apologies. But when I first jumped into my role as manager, I too kind of entered into this like weird kind of team dynamic situation, which is why I can empathize with a lot of you. And I understand why you feel so frustrated because I've quite literally been there myself. But yeah, for me in my situation, I kind of got promoted into this situation where it was kind of obvious that all except for one person, like the one person I was closest with, didn't quite believe in me or trust my capacity, I should say, to be the leader. And it was really awkward. It was really awkward. And just to give you a little bit of background, we had all kind of grown up together because all four of us in this tiny department actually got hired within weeks of each other. We all came up together. And it was obvious, okay, that one person on that team, not the person I was closest to, but one person on that team thought that she should have been promoted and didn't think that I was the right person to be promoted. Now, I will say she never said this, right? Like I never heard her utter the words, Mac, I should have been promoted over you. And because of the fact that I didn't have the gallbladder to ask her, I can't completely confirm it. But now that I have more wisdom, I can see that that's what she was trying to communicate to me through her undermining behavior, through the passive aggressiveness, through the snide comments. I can tell that's what she was trying to communicate, right? She felt like she should have gotten promoted and that I should not have gotten promoted at all. At the time, again, because I was so new and inexperienced and didn't really know what she was trying to say, I decided that I was going to turn up being nice, right? I was going to turn up being nice and try to get her to like me because I remembered there was a time when we were cool and then all of a sudden we weren't cool before, or we weren't cool anymore. And so, yeah, I tried to be really nice and really accommodating all the time. And again, I know, like, even though I didn't know that what she was trying to tell me was that she felt she should have been promoted over me, I did pick up on the fact, like on some level, that she was experiencing disappointment. And because of the fact that I wanted to be empathetic to whatever this disappointment was that she was experiencing, I tried really hard to compensate. And I tried really hard to be kind. And I tried really hard to be nice. And that went on for months. It went on for months, like 6 months. Whenever I talk to y'all about the 6-month period, this is the period that I'm talking about. This went on for literally 6 months where I was just trying really hard to be accommodating and nice all the time. Anyways, because of the fact that I never dealt with the underlying subtext of her overall kind of lack of respect for me as the manager of the team, it led to some really weird team dynamics for myself and of course for the team. And then it ended up culminating in one of the worst days I have ever had as a manager. I mean, it was really, really bad. I'm talking HR had to get involved. There was yelling that was going on. At one point, I remember it vividly. Okay, I was on the phone in my office and this team member and another team member were outside of my door pacing, demanding that I come out and talk to them. And I could see what was going on because I had a glass door at the time for my office. And of course, everybody else in different departments, they can hear what's going on because they're yelling, they're pacing, they're making a big deal. And then I remember like some people on my team had to go and talk to HR about what was happening. So they were like dragged into the mess. It was ridiculous. And of course, that day, her and the other team member, the two that were pacing, they ended up actually not coming, like they didn't come back. They quit that day. So it was really bad. And I wish I could say that it ended with that day. I wish I could say that because y'all already know, right? When two people leave a team, it leaves a gap. And so what we ended up having to do is fill in for that gap. And again, she was one of the senior members on the team, like she had been there long. And so there was a lot that we had to pick up the slack for, both myself and my team. And so the effects of me not dealing with the situation from the very beginning was long after just that one day of like total and complete embarrassment. You know, it lasted for a while. And it was a bad situation because you know what, even to this day, the original members of the team that were there that day and afterwards, we still talk about it to this day, about how bad it really was, how bad it really got just because of the fact that I didn't deal with the situation to begin with. So why am I telling you all this? Why am I sharing this story with you? Well, I'm sharing this story with you because it had an impact on me. It really, really had an impact on me. And what it taught me is the importance of communicating for trust and not likability. Because like I said, right, at the beginning, what did I try and do? What did I try to compensate, or how did I try to compensate for this friction that existed between the two of us? I tried to turn up the nice, right? And I tried to be accommodating instead of digging in and trying to build a relationship with her based on trust and demonstrating to her that I was somebody that was credible and that she could actually trust. The other thing that it taught me is the importance of not being afraid of conflict. I was such a conflict adverse person, which is so crazy, right? Because again, hindsight is 2020, right? When you have more experience and more wisdom, you realize how important it is that you're not conflict adverse, because when you are conflict adverse, oh my goodness, you end up causing more trauma and more drama for yourself because you're not dealing with the issue when it first arises in a productive manner. And so it really taught me how important it is to get a little bit uncomfortable, to deal with things instead of letting it go, because when you let it go, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And so, yeah, even though that was a pretty crummy situation that we still talk about till this day because it was pretty traumatic, it taught me valuable lessons, and it allowed me to implement changes in the way that I was doing things so that I can have better results. For one, I started approaching my relationships with my team members in a completely different way, right? One of the things that I did was I started to develop some frameworks, and I implemented some frameworks for example, running really effective one-on-ones. That way I can do so with the intent of building trust and creating like communication feedback loops, because the way I was doing them before was not good. Because honestly, I had just read in a book somewhere that I was supposed to, as a manager, conduct one-on-ones, but because I didn't know how to do it, I was wasting my time and their time, right? I wasn't doing it with purpose and intentionality. And so when I learned how to do it properly, that's when the relationships flourished. And that's when I was able to build like really, really good trust, like a good foundation of trust with my team. And then the second thing I did was I put into place specific processes and procedures to work through conflict. And then I worked really hard on my ability to communicate through conflict rather than shying away from it and then having it rear its head later, right? I learned how to get through productive and healthy conflict. And then I actually asked my mentor to hold me accountable to it, because I knew it was something that I was uncomfortable with and I would need a push for. So I let my mentor help me. I let my mentor hold me accountable to what I stated was something important to me. And, it was because of the fact that I made those shifts that we were able to take like a small team of 4 where there was lots of friction into a substantial sized department that the company eventually recognized was the model of a strong and healthy team culture for the rest of the organization. Because what ended up happening was not only did we grow, but the company actually said, you know what, this is our unique selling proposition, and we are going to focus on this department for our vision as we move forward. That's how big it got, right? That's how awesome our team became. And then I had the privilege, of course, of moving in, getting promoted several other times and then into senior leadership. And then I watched some of my team members blossom into being leaders themselves, within the department and then outside. And so it was really, really cool, right? And I'm telling you this because I want you to know what's possible, right? I know, because I've seen it myself, that it's possible to have this like weird team dynamic and to move into being the exact thing that you want. Now, all those things happen for us because I shifted my perspective, which shifted my actions, which allowed the results that I was able to get. And the other thing I think is really important for you to know is that companies want you to achieve more than just the goals, okay? They want you to achieve more than just the goals, because companies love, respect, and appreciate managers that are able to do 3 things, that are able to retain their talent within their department. Because let me tell you, it costs a lot of money to recruit, to replace, and to train people. And if you're the manager that is able to retain your people, well, then you are saving them money. The second thing that they love, absolutely love, is when you're able to create a stable, healthy, and positive driven environment. Well, what you're doing is reflecting that outwards, and it draws people in, right? Which again, saves them money. And then the last thing, when you're a manager that creates this environment where you're developing people, well, again, you're saving them money because they don't have to go out to recruit, because you're developing them from within. So when there is something that's available, when there's an opportunity that's available, they'll look for your department and go, oh, that person right there, thanks so much for all the great work. We're going to take them and pull them over here. And it's so much cheaper, right, to recruit from within than it is to go outside. And if you're the manager that develops your people, then you're creating that pipeline for the company, right? These are the type of managers that companies really love and appreciate. I'm telling you this because these are the conversations that I used to have in these executive level meetings when we were talking about what counts in a manager, right? It was the people that were able to save money, and not cost the company their bottom line by, their actions. But you can't have any of that if all you're focused on is the results and just getting through your day so you can go home. You're just not going to have any of that, which is why I'm saying that you have to focus on the relationships, which means you got to focus on building trust, right? That core foundation in order to have this type of success that I'm talking about. And so if you're ready to really level up and be the very best leader that you can be and be a true asset to the company, to your team, and for yourself in terms of your future, then definitely book a call with me using the link in the description box below so that you can learn more about the New Manager Accelerator program and how it's helping so many other managers really, really level up across the globe. All right, my friend, that's pretty much it for me. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on any other fun insights that I share on this channel every single week. All right, well, I hope you have a fantastic rest of the week. Do not forget to keep smiling, okay? And I'll see you in the next one.